All right, so let's explain how to draw linear functions. Now, let's start with the most very simple example. We go with the function y, of course, with the variable x, equals x. Okay, this means that y equals x, or in a more simplified notation, it is y equals x. Now, we are using the table coordinate method here, yeah, to draw this function. So I will write down a table as such. The top row is x and the bottom row is y. And let's say let's plug in four numbers, okay? Four numbers. So let's say x, I will plug in a -2. X, I can plug in 0, I can plug in 2, and let's go with a 4. Now, each number we plug in and evaluate the function. So I'll go step by step, okay? It is the first one that when we plug in -2 into this function, again, plugging in or evaluating the function means that the x becomes this number. So x becomes 2. Now, what's the result? It is super simple. It is, in fact, -2. What is y at x equals 0? It is 0. What is y at 2? Is 2, because it is the same number. And also 4 equals 4. So very simple. We have a -2, 0, 2, and 4. Now, we always need a coordinate system. So let's draw a relatively straight axis, the y-axis, and then a relatively straight x-axis. Now, let's go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we also need the vertical. Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I'm just going to write down the numbers this time. -1, -2. Okay, so how do we draw this line? How do we draw this function onto our coordinate system? Now I'm going to draw it I'm going to draw the points also in yellow. So we start with the first column. Now it's very similar as we drew other parts, but this time we calculated the table from a function. So our function determined our coordinates. Yeah, we didn't define the coordinates. Our function defined the coordinates. So this is -2, -2. In fact, I'm going to go blue. We have 0, 0, which is right here. Here is 2 and 2. I'll add a dotted line just for clarity. And then we go 4 and 4, yeah, dot, dot, and this you connect with the straight line. It's not always perfect because, well, we're doing it really by hand and not on a grid paper. And there you go. This function is y equals x. If we would continue this function, the so-called both domain and range of the function is how far the function can let's say travel is from -infinity to infinity, and also in the y direction the range is also infinity to -infinity. All right, let's draw a second one. So I'm gonna add a nice wavy line here, simple wavy line. And now let's make it slightly more complicated. So let's go with, I'm just going to add, actually, I'm going to draw two lines. Okay, so this will be y1, and this will be line 2. So x minus 2 and x plus 2. Now, let's make a table. Let's draw this using the coordinate table method. So I will make a table, and when you are drawing three functions, there's a nice trick that we can make a table like so. Yeah, so we make 1. This is y1 and this is y2. And in fact, since it is a straight line, we know it's a linear function. We only need 2 points. Now, just to practice, I will add 3 points. The minimum is 2. So again, let's plug in the number. I'm going with -3, 0, and 3. Okay, so let's add a little bit of color. Let's say the y1 function will be, in fact, we already used blue. So I'm going with a nice orange. So the y1 function will be orange, and the y2 function will be purple or pink, depends on how you look at it. Okay, so again, we plug in -3 into our first function. So -3 becomes x, so that means that the first point, yeah, we can write it down like this. When we plug in -3, right here, this x becomes -3, -3, and +2. So -1. So we put a -1. We repeat this process, so we plug in 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, and 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, now let's do the other one as well. So I think I'll just use yellow. Now we're plugging in again -3. So for this x, we're plugging -3. So let me write it down mathematically correct. So we plug in -3, -2, and that results in -5. Now we repeat this process and we see that we get, well, different numbers. Yeah, the 1 is incorrect. I made a miss. No, 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay. So again, I will draw a new coordinate system just for this. We could use the same one, but let's draw a new coordinate system. Again, x, y. And now what's the kind of the benefit is, well, now I see that the x values range from -3 to 3. Okay, -3 to 3. So I will go, and I see that the largest y number is 5. Yeah, -5, and I see a 5. So I'm going to draw these ticks. They're called ticks. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right here. So let me add the numbers. -1, -2, -3. And now we need numbers, in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I won't add the y-axis numbers. I think you can imagine it. So let's add the orange function first. Okay, so our first is right here. So I'm going to try to highlight it. The first coordinate, the first point of this line is -3, -1. So I'm going to find -3, -1, which is right here. Yeah, this is -3, -1. Then we have 0, 2, which is right here. Yeah, from here. And the last one we have 3, 5. So 3 and 5, which is right here. Yeah, this is the number 5. This is the number 3. So this is 5, and this is 2, and this is -1. This connects with a straight line. And now what's important to notice is that we are not going through the center of the coordinate system. We are going through the point number 2. So the intersect of the line with the y-axis is at the value of y equals 2, which is right here. I'll just remove the circle. Let's draw the other function in an identical way. So now we have -5 -3 is all the way here. Yeah, all the way here. This is -5. Then we have 0 -2. 0 -2 is here. And then we have a simple 5 and 1. Apologies. We have 3 and 1. Yeah, it's right here. This is 1. 1. Again, we connect it with a straight line. In other words, this is our linear function. And what is the key takeaway from this video is that we can see that all of these three lines, I'll circle them in green. This line or this function, the orange function, and the pink or purple function have the same slope. Have the same slope. And we can even see that since the m value, is 1, which I think we will explain in the upcoming videos. And what's the difference? I apologize. The orange line and the pink line is only shifted, is only moved upwards. So the orange one is upwards because we have a +2, so it went up. And the pink or purple function is -2, so it shifted down by 2. Okay.